So before we get started, I just want to give a huge thank you to Eddie and everyone at Comic-Con and all the volunteers for making this happen. Just seriously, thank you. And one last thing, which is there's an important election happening in November, and I just ask everyone to register to vote. Now let's move into this conversation.
Good call.
So for both of you, you guys have both made and been a part of so many awesome, cool sequences. What do you consider the hardest shot or sequence that you've done in your career?
For me, it was actually, in 10,000 BC, I had like kind of a very hard kind of time, you know, because there was everything went wrong there. And for me, it was like really hard to kind of pull this all together. And there was the scene where, you know, more or less, you know, like he storms up or like they storm down, and it was like just everything went wrong. And I still pulled it off, but I was really happy about that because for me, this was like the movie where I always like said, maybe I should think about early retirement and quit my job.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So, you know,
And I have
maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know, but whatever.
Yeah, I think every film you think about early retirement at some point. We're kind of a glutton for punishment. I think for me it's Emancipation, the film I did with Will Smith, because I was filming it in New Orleans in the swamps. Mm-hmm. And it was 114 almost every day, and we got shut down because of COVID, I don't know how many times. And then there was the hurricane. And, you know, when you're filming in the swamps, there's alligators and literally nowhere to put a camera. And there was a lot of days where I just thought I would never make it out of the swamp. So retirement wasn't even a question. I was trying to survive.
For both of you, what do you think would surprise everyone in this room to learn about being a director in Hollywood?
Everything. Everything.
I mean, the strange thing is, I had to more or less at the very beginning of my career kind of find out that I don't like comic book movies because I didn't grow up in Germany, and we read more Hermann Hesse and Thomas Mann, people like that, and so you know I had to invent my own kind of films. And I think the high point was Independence Day, because at that time I worked with Dean Devlin, and we kind of just thought, you know, that you know, like we have to kind of do something about, you know, like you know, about an alien invasion, and we used the example of a towering inferno, because it was like kind of the ideal situation, and it was like kind of a really super hit.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it did well.
Yeah,
Big
it
hit.
did really well.
Big hit. In fact,
Okay.
the teaser you did made me want to go back and watch more of Roland's movies. I love it. A lot of fun, man. The question was,
What do you think fans would be surprised to learn about being a director in Hollywood?
I think there's so many things, but I would say that this, from the big, complicated sequences to what somebody's going to wear, can become stressful and difficult, right? It's like there's days where the smallest thing could just become a nightmare, something you would never even think about. You know, like you show up, you're ready to shoot, and somebody put one of your actors in the wrong thing after you've done a couple takes. And you're like, fucking, the sun's going down. And your producer's telling you got to wrap. I mean, you know, you never know what it's going to be, but I think what I would say is it's always the unexpected it's the small things that can be stressful.
I don't know if any of you have attended any of the directors on directing panels that I've done in the past, but I ask, thank you, yes you. I like to get some people to send in some questions, and the first fan question comes from someone named Robert.
Hey everybody, it's your friend and mine, Robert Kirkman, and this is such a tremendous honor to be able to ask a question to Antoine Fuqua and Roland Emmerich. Holy crap, huge fan of both you guys, love you. So, I'm going to be that guy. You guys made 2 movies, Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down, at the same time. It's happened a few times in history where somewhat similar movies come out around the same time. So my question is, any awareness of those movies while you were making them? Was it something that you found out afterwards? And, you know, do you guys ever watch each other's movies? Do you have opinions on them? Anything you want to talk about? I would be just absolutely fascinated to hear what you guys have to say about this. All right. Thank you so much. And again, huge honor.
Do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
No, I actually learned. I was like right before, you know, like a shooting. I was like maybe a month before. I learned that like he was shooting another one, which is called Olympus Has Fallen. And I said, this is so much a better title than White House Down. Honest to God. And I said, oh God, why we didn't, I couldn't stop it. We had like casted with, you know, like the actors. and so I went through it, but I was always like new, because I knew that you will come out first, and I knew that also like we will be an afterthought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was aware of it. I didn't think much of it in the sense of the audience, which one the audience would go see. I figured there's room for those stories. Obviously, 2 different directors, 2 different visions on it, and different actors. There's room for that. And then obviously, if you're going to make a movie, you know, Roland Emmerich's making the same movie. That's daunting. But at the same time, it's challenging because, you know, it makes you step your game up because, you know that's coming. So it was more like a healthy competition. It was never negative for me. Like I said, I'm a fan of Roland's, and I knew it would be quite different, you know, type of film because, you know, I had a little more room, I think, in my film. It didn't cost as much. It was a little more violent with my film. And I was sort of gauging that on the temperature of what I felt the audience was interested in, being so close to, not so far from 9/11 and other issues. I felt like I could make a grittier version because I didn't have as much money at stake. And so that's kind of how I saw it. But again, I'm a fan of Roland's, and, you know, I never felt any negative competition. I really felt like I got to step my game up. It's Roland Emmerich. Don't fuck around.
So I definitely have to ask, Roland, did you see Olympus and did you see White House Down?
Yes,
and what was your reaction?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
Like yeah. Great movie like always.
What can I say?
You know? I mean, it's out of our hands once they distribute the movie. You know, it's like they have to sell the movie.
I actually saw it on a plane.
What?
Yes. Sorry, because I was like out of time. But I wanted to see it, and this was the first chance I could see
Well, I
it.
apprient that. I saw yours on the big screen.
It was a very.
I went to see his film on a big screen.
It was a very big screen. It was like, you know.
It was like, you know.
It was like yes. First class. Sorry.
Well, there you go.
So I'm fascinated by the editing process, and I'm curious for both of you, which film in your resume changed the most in the editing room in ways you didn't expect going in?
You go first.
Interesting.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
I had the plan to do a movie about Stonewall, and you know what I will do? I will do this. Hey, and it was like kind of not happening, because whatever we did, was like, it didn't work. And so my editor actually said, why we don't intercut this? Why we don't like start how he comes to New York, we see his thing, and then he gets into the life of this, and then we cut back to him. And then we like kind of see why he left. And that was like a brilliant idea, not from me, but from my editor, and it was like kind of worked much better than I ever have thought.
Yeah, I think each film it's always surprising. You know, there's the old saying, the first act is on the page, second act is on the stage, the third act's in the editing room, right? And so you're always surprised on the third act when you get into the editing bay, how to make sure you drive your message home, you finish your story. I find that almost in every film, Equalizer in particular, the last one, Equalizer 3, a lot in the editing room. We had several different versions of that ending. And so pleasantly, people seem to like what they saw.
I actually don't know what the other versions of the endings were in Equalizer 3. Is it safe to talk about them, or?
It was just the question was did he find a home or not, a place to stay? Does he die or not? You know, things like that we had discussed. And really, it didn't come together until editing, as far as concluding his journey.
I'm sure along the way, you guys have been wanting to make certain projects, and they've fallen apart at the last minute. Do you have a project that was like really close to filming, and then it fell apart?
My project I always want to do is called Happy Birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday. And there's a very, very famous moment when Marilyn Monroe sang to President Kennedy. And it's about actually that, in a weird way, the assassination was first tried. They first tried to blame the Kennedys for the death of her, for her death. And that is always my kind of favorite script, my favorite movie, but it's stuck in endless, like everybody warns me about making this movie. So that's like kind of just, it's sometimes interesting because that famous actors have rights, and you cannot just like kind of make them look exactly like them, also more or less in fake, make them look exactly like them, and get away with it. Because it's difficult. When a movie costs more than, let's say, $40–50 million, then you have no chance, because there's always legal, and they say, oh, don't do it, Roland. This is like dangerous, and we don't want to be. You want to be not sued by anybody.
Right. Yeah. Mine was. I was actually fully prepped of American Gangster. I was about just a couple weeks away from filming American Gangster. In fact, I'm the one that called it American Gangster. It used to be called Blue something. And when I got Denzel involved, changed it to American Gangster. But that film fell apart because of financing. At the time, Universal couldn't come to a understanding of the budget or cast. I cast Benicio del Toro opposite Denzel, which is what I wanted, Benicio and Denzel. And at the time, Universal had other plans. So when that fell apart, that broke my heart. That movie still breaks my heart. Like I prepped that whole movie ready to shoot within a couple weeks. Yeah. Well, look, Ridley Scott did it, so you can't complain. It is what it is. It's movies, it's Hollywood.
And the next fan question comes from director Jonathan Goldstein.
Hey guys, you've both done films with giant action sequences, and something I've always wondered about is how other directors approach that. When John Daly and I are prepping a film, we typically shot list everything and figure out the blocking before we ever get to the set, but I know that there's some directors who just show up on the day and kind of piece it together. So that's my question. How do you approach those things? Thanks.
Well, I approach action scenes the way you approach dialogue. You got to tell a story within the action. It's not just action. So you approach it the same as dialogue. There's a conversation that's happening in the violence. And so preparation is everything, but then still keeping the characters alive within the action is most important to me.
I'm sometimes totally plan it, and sometimes I don't. It's really weird, but when I feel very kind of in sync with the scene, I'm like saying, just do it. And it's a little bit difficult for my crew because they kind of always like have to listen really carefully. And then others, I kind of just exactly, like kind of plan in previous.
Yeah.
What is for both of you, is there an action set piece that you're especially proud of in your movies?
Well, I'm proud of Emancipation's final battle because I did all that in camera, and that was complicated to do, and I was trying to do it in the least amount of shots and choreograph the battle scene with the Confederates and that was a tough one because of the heat. And I'm most proud of that we pulled that off. And we did that within a couple weeks. It should have took at least a month, but we did that within a couple weeks. And so I'm most proud of that.
I think I'm most proud of The Patriot because I was like kind of really nervous because I shot with Mel Gibson. And he's himself a quite accomplished director, so you want to kind of not let anything go the wayside. And there was like one scene which I kind of really kind of wanted to show him that I'm like an amazing director. And this was like kind of when they both stand and watch a battle. And I kind of had everything like totally planned out, and it went really well, and he was duly impressed, I have to say.
It's a great one. It's a great one.
One of the things that in the contracts recently was about AI and how AI is going to impact Hollywood. I'm curious for both of you, do you think AI, is it a tool that filmmakers can use? Is it something that's Hollywood's kryptonite? Like, what are your thoughts on AI and AI's future in Hollywood?
I think it's a tool. It's really, that's what it is. It will always stay a tool and is a tool. It's just like makes your job as a director more easy. That's what's really, I think, important. Because it's not like kind of that this AI, does everything for you. Right. You still have to kind of choose the right actor. You have to just shoot the right scenes. You have to kind of just do the right thing. And then actually AI can really, really help you doing that.
So that's interesting because there are some filmmakers who are like very opposed to any AI at all being involved in movies. But the truth is, like, executives are going to find a way to get it in there in some way, shape, or form.
Well, it's a tool, as Roland said. It will remain a tool. we're creatures of habit, right? I remember when I started in videos and commercials, and my first movies were all in film, shot film, 35 millimeter film, and digital was the thing that we all kicked and screamed about, and then turns out that it's fantastic, and you know, still it's another paintbrush that we can use to do our work. AI is the same thing. The thing that I think people get most excited about AI is the thing that I think is the kryptonite, which is it doesn't replace human feelings, human emotions. You know, there's things that only can happen in the moment with another human being that no computer can ever achieve.
We have another question sent in from a director, Louis Leterrier.
Bonjour Comic-Con. Hey Steve, it's Louis Leterrier. Hi Antoine. Hey Roland. Roland, you and I were attached to the same project, Fantastic Voyage, produced by James Cameron. We didn't get to direct it, and the project still hasn't happened, and it's still my dream to jump back on this. So I was wondering, are there other ones that got away, and is it still your dream to direct them? All right, have a great con. Bye, guys.
Well,
I think I might have asked a little bit about that question.
well,
My bad.
It's like it was a little bit like, you know, James Cameron is very overbearing. To say it very, very, yeah. And so I, at one point, just gave up. Because it's like, is it your movie or my movie? And that's what happened.
So how close did you actually get on that project? Were you like...
Very beginning stages. Because I kind of said like, gosh, you know, I mean, why is he so overbearing? I mean, it's like, was for me like, look, I, you know, I mean, I have to say, I'm do my stuff. And when I cannot do my stuff, I'm like totally not interested. And as simple as that. So when somebody else wants to say something to me and is more powerful than me, then I drop immediately out.
I gotta get you to get the mic.
Oh, okay. So I drop out.
Is there anything? Well, we can move on to something else. Some directors love to put deleted scenes and offer an extended cut, and there's other filmmakers that want, like, the movie is the movie, and I don't want to show you anything that didn't make it in. So for both of you, how do you feel about extended cuts of your movies, deleted scenes, showing the warts, and how much do you just want to, like, you know, the movie is the movie?
Well, I mean, if it's worthy, I mean, you got to really, you have to check your ego with that one, because you know, when you put a film out, if it does well, and the audience kind of tells you, you may have some shots or some scenes that you think would make the movie better. If it truly does make the movie better or give a different experience, then yeah, you should do it. But if not, I say you move on to your next one, and not dwell in that. Maybe one day in your life go back, you know, and look at the film, but it would take me 20, 30 years to want to do something like that. Because the audience will tell you what the movie is. No matter what you do, it's theirs now. Once it's out, it belongs to them. So.
I always believe in my audience. So if I test a movie and they don't like a scene, it's out.
Right.
And then when I test it again and another scene comes up, it's out. So I think the audience always tells you what is the best possible movie,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
It's, and I'm not in any way in favor of you know, making extended editions and stuff, because it's like kind of the movie is the movie. The movie which got released is the movie, and if I later fiddle around with it or not, it's just it's an afterthought.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious. Obviously, everyone knows that test screenings happen. And I'm curious for both of you, what is the best test screening you've done, like the highest score, the one that the audience just loved it, and what was the disaster if you've had one?
I hate test screenings because
Me too.
the film's not done in any way. But, I guess the best one for me would be Equalizer 1. It's weird. I did a test screening of Equalizer 1. It scored extremely high, and Amy Pascal at Sony basically said, just finish the movie. Like, there was no notes, nothing. It's the first time that's ever happened, ever. Disaster, I haven't had a disaster yet. I've had scores that we weren't happy about, and we had to go back and work very hard to get them back up, which is just the process. But yeah, Training Day didn't score high in the test screenings because I killed Denzel. People were pissed. I almost got ran out of the theater on that one. So, so yeah, that was probably the lowest test screening, but became the biggest hit, really. So
My highest score was The Patriot. It had a super high score. And I only remember that, the marketing boss there said, now it's on my watch to kind of make this movie known to America. And he was like kind of, I think, fired like 3 months later. So that was like the best. And I have to say, there was one movie which I really, really kind of was very, very in tune. And we shot all these beautiful, beautiful traveling shots. And then everybody's constantly said, the movie is too long. So, and it was 10,000 BC, and I kind of cut out everything which was like good about this movie, and it tested worse and worse and worse. And you cannot really restore anything.
Right.
You cannot restore a movie. No. So because you're way too deep into the finishing of the movie. So it's you are running out of time. So this is like a movie which I would have loved to kind of make 5, 6, 7 minutes longer.
So, Roland, you have a new Peacock show that just dropped, Those About to Die, and I know you used LED screens. Oh, there we go. That used LED screens, and a lot of people are using volume technology, LED screens, to help their production, especially because these screens allow you to shoot like the golden hour all day. So for both of you, what are your feelings on the volume technology, LED screens? Do you feel that this will be like the new way that all movies are made, or is it select scenes, or what are your thoughts?
Well, it's like, I don't know what you think about it, but I love it. I had a little bit problems at the beginning, which was like kind of, for me, I have to kind of work harder. And I shot 108 days on a volume stage. Can you think about that? I mean, it's like, it was nearly 40% of the whole shoot. So that said, at the end, we were like just, jiving, and we were like kind of high-fiving each other because it worked so well. And then we did actually something which was always like in my mind: how do I shoot, this in the same look, close-ups? And then what we like did, and it was my visual effects supervisor, Pete Travers. He kind of proposed, why we don't like film out one of these shots with all the horses and shoot them in front of it, and like just move the camera a little bit, and it worked like a charm. And it had exactly the same kind of feeling, what all the other shots had. And so that was like kind of what we did, and it was like amazing. And we, with this one shot, pretty much did all the close-ups, and it was awesome. And I'm like kind of actually planning, if there is a season 2 of Those About to Die, to even use this more.
I'm not yet. It's an amazing tool. I mean, I've seen people use it. I haven't used it, so I don't have much experience with it at all. But again, it's another tool. It's another tool. You know, it's something that I'm interested in learning more about, and I'm sure I'll apply it to something when it's appropriate.
I think a lot of people know that Gareth Edwards, or if you don't know, Gareth Edwards, with the creator, used like a store-bought Best Buy camera that cost $3,000 to shoot a lot of stuff, and it was amazing because he could shoot in incredibly low light. The sensors could do stuff that were just, it's incredible. For both of you, have you seen any technology behind the scenes that is not yet out, or a technology you're excited to use in the future outside of LED screens and the volume?
No, I haven't.
Not really.
Not really.
I mean, it's you look. I'm always on pretty much like informed about everything what's created, and this was a way to kind of make a movie more dirty, you know, because the creator looks quite dirty, and because of that, is like, I think was my last the favorite movie of mine. The Creators as a genius movie, and go watch it, because I think it's one of the most amazing movies ever made. And so that said, it has, and there was a reason behind it, you know, why he shot it with a consumer camera.
We have another fan question from someone named John.
Move your arm. All right, action.
Hi, Comic-Con. Jon Watts here. My question is for Antoine and Roland. Antoine, you started in the music video industry and worked your way up to features. Roland, you jumped right into huge feature films after college. You guys had very different paths, but I'm curious, is there any tip or piece of advice for any aspiring filmmakers out in the Comic-Con audience tonight that you guys can both agree on?
Hi, Comic-Con.
Okay. I always think you should follow your instinct, right?
Absolutely.
I'm always was like kind of saying, I don't care what the world says, I'm doing my own films.
Right.
And that's from the very beginning until now. And whenever I thought too much, it was like actually more negative.
Yes, 100%. 100% agree with you. You have to follow your instincts. I mean, it goes back a little bit to, you talk about technology. It's amazing in the world of digital what you can do.
Oh, yeah.
And so I would say to any filmmaker out there, you have to just go do it. You have to go follow your instincts. You can go buy a consumer camera and you know, by a hook or crook, tell your story. You know, no, you're running out of excuses, basically. You have to go do it. You don't have any, you have the technology. That's the best part of technology, is that you can film in low light. You can get these cameras. You can use your iPhone. There's no rules to be creative. If it works, it works. You know, so that's what I would tell them.
Roland, I touched on it a second or two ago, but you are here at Comic-Con this year because of your new Peacock series. There's going to be a lot of people out here who actually don't know anything about the show. So what can you tell people about it?
It's an honest look at Rome in the, let's say, early 80s after Christ. So, and it's naturally because 30% of everything what happened in Rome, you know, they spent 30% of their money for games. And when you like see this today, I mean, we spend maybe like 5, 6, 7% of our money, or on that. And so this, like shows how important sport was, and also how, people, like kind of distracted it. That they wanted to use it as distraction, and that's like kind of what I wanted to show.
The first season is 10 episodes. Do you have a favorite and why?
My favorite actually is Kwame. Is a kid who is snatched in Namibia, and he kind of just like kind of wants to save his 2 sisters, and is arrested too, and shipped to Rome, and naturally the mom, like kind of follows them, and she wants to, like kind of save him, but he has seen his father die on the Roman hands, and all what he wants to do, he wants to free his sisters and kill Romans, and then naturally because he had like. He was like standing opposite, Domitian, who is one of the sons of Vespasian. He kind of says, he tells then later the guy with the hyena eyes, I want to kill him. And that was, for me, like a great story.
We actually have like a featurette for the show, so let's play it. How long did it actually take you to film? Because it's 10 episodes and you filmed in Rome.
230 days. Yeah. I was like, I became actually a citizen of Rome. No way, kidding. It was just like, I always like said, I want to have more time. I want to have more time because it's important. It's the first show. And I had actually, in average, 22 days episode.
That's a lot of time.
Yeah. I think it shows.
Yeah.
So.
I have a few individual questions for you. I definitely want to touch on Training Day because it's effing awesome. When you were making Training Day, I was waiting. I was like, I think people have seen this movie. When you were making it, like, when did you realize, oh, this might be something special?
When we were at the Academy Awards. I mean, you never know with a movie, Yeah. No, there was a scene on the set that kind of got chills when Denzel convinces Ethan Hawke, this is chess, not checkers. And I thought, he's so diabolical. If he seduces Ethan in this scene, if this works, then the movie could be special. Because he was such a dark character. He had to seduce the audience back into loving him and trusting him in order for him to wind up at Smiley's. And I think when we did that scene is when I felt like maybe we had something.
A lot of people don't realize that early in your career, before you were making movies, you were doing a lot of music videos, and you worked with Prince early. Oh, there we go. They've heard of Prince. So what was you directed Most Beautiful Girl in the World. What the hell was it like working with Prince?
It's amazing. It was, you can imagine working with Prince, how eccentric he was too. I get a call in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning. He flew me down to hang out a little bit. It was about minus 20 degrees. And I hear this voice wake me up and goes, what you doing? And I was like, what? Because he had a deep voice in reality. And he goes, it's me. I said, who's me? And he wouldn't say his name, because he was like, me. And then he said, the boss. I was like, who's boss? And he said, it's me, Prince. I said, what's up, man? He says, come to Paisley Park. Come now, I'm ready. And I was just like, we didn't even design the video yet. So I went to Paisley Park. He sent a car And I show up, and there was more women than I've ever seen in one place, just lounging around, hanging out, making music. It was just bizarre, it was like a dream. And then about the steps, he had these long steps, and I see this figure walking down the steps, like Betty Davis or something. It was in red outfit, paisley outfit, and the closer I got, the more I could see. You could see all the way through. It was like you could see everything. And he had the little cat suit on, and he goes, "I'm ready." I was like, "For what?" He said, "I'm ready to shoot now." I was like, "I'm not ready now." He goes, "Come on, just get your crew." You know, how do you say no to Prince? So literally that night, I gathered the crew and all the girls and Giorgio Scali, my DP, and we shot that video that night. And to this day, it was like a dream. It was just like, that was it, you know? And that's how you work with Prince. He just wakes you up in the middle of the night and says, "I'm ready," in a paisley outfit that you can see everything. Yeah, I had to put a little shadow over it, you know. But that's Prince. I love him and always will. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I think some people know this, but some people might not. You just wrapped, or I think you wrapped on filming the Michael Jackson movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Some people are hearing about it for the first time.
Right.
So what can you tell people about the movie and why you wanted to make it?
Why I wanted to make it is Michael, you know, first. But, you know, I'm in the early stages of editing the film right now. Just wrapped May 30th. Very excited about it, I'm very happy with what we got in the can. Like I said, it's so early in the editing process, I don't want to talk too much about it. But Michael was a big part of my life growing up, a big influence on my career, an incredible artist, but he was a human being, and we're exploring that. But I'm very excited about it, very.
Cool. It comes out next year?
Next year.
Yeah. So let's move on to, I have another fan question, which I think some of you might have seen already. It's possible. His name is Josh.
Hello, it's Glenn Powell. How y'all doing? It's not. Get honest. It's Josh Brolin. Fuck. Antoine Fuqua. Roland Emmerich. You both have worked with amazing actors. How do you get inside the head of an actor in order to get what you want? You both have worked with amazing actors, from Denzel Washington to Mel Gibson. Some people show up and you have ego, and you have people working harder than others. And how do you get people to get on your track and give you what you want, given that there are suggestions in a collaborative effort? What are the trials and tribulations of working with an actor, and what have you done in order to lend yourself to that one profession beyond your own? See you at Comic-Con.
Wow. Love Josh, man. Love Josh. You want to start with that one? I'll let you go.
Yeah. Okay, so I was really, really nervous to shoot like The Patriot. Because I said, oh my God, they have like Mel Gibson, he's an Oscar-nominated director. I mean, what should I do? It's like, it was really, really kind of thing. And so the first kind of problem I had was I wanted to have Heath Ledger instead of another actor. And I naturally had to call him and say, I kind of like the other guy more. And then he said, well, you're the director, and hangs up on me. True story. Said, okay. He said, yes. This was a yes for me. I said, everybody was like, only my sister was with me, and everybody else wanted to have the other guy. And after 3 days, he actually told me, you were right and I was wrong. Because this guy will be a major star. And that kind of tells you a little bit about Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is such a intuitive person, and he's such a kind of, and he can choke in the last moment and put his finger in the slate and stuff like that, and choke around, and in the next moment he breaks down crying. It's amazing, and so that was, and I nearly had to say nothing, but then at one point I kind of like said, he kind of had to kill some English soldier. And he kind of just it didn't quite work. So I kind of said, get me a bucket. I filled it up with water and blood. And he kind of said, okay, so hit it as many times as you can. And it was like the best shot I ever did in the Patriots, because it got like, all his like kind of emotion came out, because I have the feeling he's deep down a very angry guy. And no, he is. I mean, sorry, it's like to say that in public, but he is, and he has to sometimes release this anger, and that was like a bucket with blood and some water, and that was it.
Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, that's how that.
Good. Mel Gibson's an amazing guy. He's a great guy. He's a friend. He's amazing. So is Josh Brolin, by the way. What a great actor he is. What a great actor.
He's awesome.
Truly. You know, actors they're mystery. You know, they're humans, and they're talented, and they're your closest collaborators when you're making a film. You know, this is why AI can never replace an actor.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and they bring a magic that's, when you see it, it's incredible to see. When I work with Denzel and Ethan Hawke or Jake Gyllenhaal, Will Smith, whatever, there's a magic they have. And you just have to make room. I mean, my job is to make room for them to do their job and to bring the humanity to the character. And some days are harder than others. Yeah. And, you know, we have some tricks that we do. I'm not going to tell you, but I have tricks. I'm sure he does, you know. But most importantly, it's a trust thing. For me, it's about trust. You have to earn each other's trust. When you earn each other's trust with a great actor, what they bring to the table is just, it's the magic. There's nothing like it. And Denzel and I have an agreement that I don't tie his hands and he doesn't tie mine. And we're willing to trust each other with some ideas that even if I don't like it or if he doesn't like it, we trust each other to try it. And I think that's where it really happens, in the trust.
I'm always curious about how, so Roger Deakins, cinematographer, genius, he shoots with one camera, and and there's no real coverage. It's just one camera. And then you have someone like Ridley Scott, who will shoot with 8 cameras, and it's everything is a camera on set. For both of you, how many cameras do you typically like to use on dialogue scenes, and do you normally shoot with one camera? Do you normally shoot with 2? How do you like to work?
One camera. That's it. Because if you have, let's say, a 2-shot and at the same time a close-up doesn't work, because the eye line is wrong, and so I'm always really believe that you have to shoot with one camera. Only in action situations, when there's more, to see, and then I use sometimes 2, 3 cameras, but never more, because I know exactly where I have to put the camera, and and that's it.
Yeah, sometimes definitely in action more than one camera, depending on the action. In dialogue, one camera is always better, definitely, but it depends on an actor for me or a situation. I've had situations where, well, Training Day is a good example. I'll use Training Day since that's what we talked about. In the car, it's complicated in the car, moving around the city and having two guys in the car and trying to keep that rhythm going and chasing the light. So there was times where I used two cameras because we were ad-libbing at times. Yeah. And when you're ad-libbing, it's tricky to capture those moments again. So you have to have, cameras to get both the reactions from these moments when that happens. And because you can't get it again, once somebody does something, an actor gives you something. So in that case, I would use two cameras, but most of the time, one, as Roland said, is best.
We're at Comic-Con, and everyone here watches trailers, and everyone here is very passionate about trailers and paying attention to the marketing. And one of the things I think a lot of people complain about, I complain about it, is that some of the trailers just give away everything. So for both of you, how do you like to typically work with the marketing, or do you work with the marketing and certain execs in trying to figure out, I'm willing to give you this shot, but we may not talk about this?
Oof. I mean, it's always different. Every marketing department is different. Some totally listen to you, and some say, what does he know, And I was always at the very beginning of my career, a lot cutting my own trailers and teasers. And they always worked a little bit better than what they did. And there was one moment, where I thought, we had a really two good teasers, and it was Godzilla, and I did the first teaser, I shot it, and cut it, and it went really well, and then I used the scene of the movie, and it was the second teaser. And then all of a sudden they decided this has to be a scary movie. It was not. And they ruined the whole movie in a weird way, because everybody said, oh, this is scary? And it was not scary. It was not about that. It was about, Godzilla. And Godzilla is just this huge dinosaur, wreaks havoc on New York, and that was that. I mean, I think it was more a disaster movie than thing, but not scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always tricky. It's always different. I mean, you can't make a movie by yourself. You can't sell a movie by yourself. And so you have to trust the people you're in business with, give your opinion and give them the best material you can. But, my approach is have lots of conversations and let my opinion be heard. But at the end of the day, that's their job. This is what they do for a living. And I like to believe we all want to win. And so I defer to them at the end of the day, because that's a whole mystery to me, the analytics and the number running and testing and all that stuff. Sometimes after you make a movie, it's hard for a filmmaker, for me, because I would do things completely different, but that's not what I do for a living. I don't do the marketing. There's people that are really good at that, so I trust that.
On that note, I'm just going to say I really appreciate you two being here today at Comic-Con. Ladies and gentlemen, Roland Emmerich and Antoine Fuqua.